You are where you are because of who you are. And if you want to be somewhere else, then you have to change. Hi guys, JT here at Access Health and Fitness, bringing you my second off-the-cuff talk. Just want to say thanks to everyone who reached out after the last video, a lot of positive feedback. I just always want to say, don't take everything so literally, like everything I say, or, and not everything I say is for everybody that hears it either, So the last video, it wasn't just about my opinion, it was to get you to, develop your own opinion, It was a good exercise. A lot of people found that it was very thought-provoking. So it was, but this is the aim. The aim is that I want to get you just thinking for yourselves. It's not a black and white. I'm not telling people what to do. I just want to share ideas and opinions, and hopefully somewhere along the way it can help a few of you. So yeah, you are where you are because of who you are. I'm not too sure who actually said that. My own add-on to it is, because of who you are and the choices you've made. And today I want to talk to you all about accountability. Well, the main thing, accountability. One of the first articles I ever wrote was titled, "It's Probably Your Fault," because everything you are and everything you have is down to who you are and the choices you've made through life. And it's gotten you to where you are today. Try to get out of the thought process of good or bad, being in a good place or a bad place, or good experiences or bad experiences. Things are just the way they are, and experiences are just experiences. So it's to try and get you to understand that, we can't go through life saying, oh, if it wasn't for this, I'd be doing this, or if it wasn't for that, I could have been here. We have to take accountability for our own choices that we made. In the last video I talked about, and I kind of set you up for this one, I said, if you wake up every morning and you're truly happy in yourself, then you've already won, because you're doing everything you want to do. And the little add-on to that today that I'm going to say is, but you can't just be happy with what you do. You also have to be happy with the consequences. So, people be like, oh yeah, well, I drink 7 nights a week, or, I do this or do that, and I'm really happy. But it's where that brings you 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line. You have to be, happy with those consequences too. So this is where we need to, think, beyond our immediate time, and think of what the road that we're on, or the path that we're taking. So especially when it comes down to things like alcohol, drugs, food, anything we use for as escape mechanisms or coping mechanisms, we have to be thinking about where that's bringing us, where that's leading us. It's great to go out and have a few drinks, but is going out and have a few drinks 3, 4, 5 nights a week, actually, where's that going to lead you in 5 years time, 10 years time? You can say it's good fun now, but if you're 45 years of age and you end up in hospital and having a heart attack or a stroke, or you end up suffering with diabetes, it's are you going to be happy with that lifestyle then as well? Because and I see it often. I see many people with heart disease in their 40s, and cancer and stroke and diabetes, and these are the things that we have to look at. We have enough information now, we have enough science now to know that what we're doing today, the possible consequences it could have further down the line. And it's not about not drinking, it's not about, not eating takeouts or whatever, but it's having a little bit of an understanding of where this could potentially bring you. So it's, so accountability, the other thing with accountability is that, as I said in the last video, we're all born with a brain, a heart, and 4 limbs, and it's what you do with that, I don't believe there's any superhumans out there. Everyone who you see, everyone who you might look up to, anyone who you deem successful, they all started out just as average as you and I, and they just, made decisions and made choices, and that brought them onto the path that they're now on. So it's, so it's, and I see it all too often, the big thing is, oh, I don't have the time, but the time is, I never understand time, because time for me is all about prioritizing. I don't have TV stations. I don't watch much TV. I do have Netflix. I watch it a bit from time to time. But you know, I don't deem sitting in front of the TV from 9 to 12 o'clock at night, you know, doing me any justice. It's not serving me at all. Whereas, you know, people asking, how do I get up at 5 o'clock every morning? Well, it's easy. I'm in bed at 9 o'clock every night, you know, and, you know, no matter what anyone tells you, we're all going to be far more productive between 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. than we are between 9 p.m. to midnight. You know, people, it's, you know, for grown adults, it's like you are children thinking that you're going to miss out on something. I can't go to bed at 9 o'clock now, so like, you know, such and such is on TV. But like, it's what's it doing for you, you know? Again, if you're complaining about not having time, then you shouldn't be able to tell me about, you know, what seasons are great on Netflix or what you've been binging, or, you know, because that shouldn't come into it. If you don't have time to do something that's a priority, especially if we're talking about something that's towards your own, you know, physical health and mental or emotional health, you know, then how come a TV show or Netflix becomes more of a priority to use your time than, you know, than this other thing that's going towards your health? And, you know, the TV is just for today, just for now, but your health is for however long you're walking foot on this planet. So it's yeah, so we have to be accountable, you know. We can't keep saying, oh, I don't have the time. We all only have 24 hours, you know, and it's how we choose to use those 24 hours that's going to make the difference. But it's you know, people, another thing is like people aren't, you know, motivated. Oh, I have no motivation. You know, motivation is very short-lived. You know, we can watch videos, we can watch, you know, speeches, we can, you know, but if we were only to exercise or eat well every time we were motivated, sure, none of us would ever do anything. None of us would ever, you know, get anywhere. You know, your motivation has to be, you know, your own self-drive. It has to be your purpose. You know, you have to have your why. You know, I often talk about like, what's your why? And it's all, you know, the reason that you get out of bed in the morning, the reason you do what you do. You know, if you don't have, you know, that drive, you know, then your goals aren't big enough. Your priorities maybe aren't big enough. You know, like if you don't, if you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, and you understand the health consequences of, you know, maybe the lifestyle that you're currently living, you know, but yet you choose to still live that same lifestyle, then you have to ask yourself why. You know, why am I motivated that I know that I'm heading towards heart disease, you know, potentially cancer, diabetes, stroke. You know, if you know you're potentially going towards them, but yet you don't have the motivation to veer off and to change the path you're on. So, you know, I'm not going to talk about it much in this video, but we can talk about it again, just through my own experiences, is, you know, the underlying of lack of motivation. You know, most people that I deal with don't have food problems, they don't have alcohol problems, they don't have a lack of motivation for exercise problems. You know, they're all just little side effects to whatever the underlying problem is. You know, and we all have a certain amount of emotional trauma, or maybe possibly physical or childhood traumas that you know, manifests in us doing alcohol and drugs and food in whatever it is that you're doing, you know. Especially now, like during the middle of this corona pandemic, you know, I see it. I'm in my gym most days. There's a bottle bank outside, and every day looks like Christmas. Every day, you know, people are coming with bottles of wine, bottles of beer, you know, and far more than usual. So that just tells me that more people are at home, and more people aren't happy being at home with themselves, you know. And you know, if this is you, this is something that you need to deal with. Not the drink. The drink isn't what needs to be dealt with. It's whatever is driving you, that you need this escapism, that you can't sit with yourself, you know. And I used to do it myself, you know, and it wasn't too long ago when I did do it. But we, you know, when you start digging deep, and it's not easy, you know, it's not easy to sit with yourself. It's not easy to face your own demons, you know, and demons come in many forms. You know, I mentioned about traumas, but like even down to our own insecurities, our vulnerabilities, you know, our self-doubts, you know, these are all certain types of demons that we need to deal with and we need to confront. And this reflects on into the last video as well. I've done a lot of work on myself in recent years, you know, emotionally, mentally, and, you know, now as I've evolved in the last few years, like, you know, this is where the last video comes from, is that sometimes I just don't really give a shit. A lot of the time I just don't give a shit. You know, people's opinions doesn't matter. I'm very much aware of my own personality traits. I'm very much aware of my own insecurities, my self-doubts, you know, and these are things now that I strive forward to improve on. You know, so, you know, I aim to improve. I'm, you know, aiming to improve on what I'd consider a negative personality trait. I'm aiming to improve on my confidence. Even doing these videos, I've wanted to do these for ages, but you know, I just haven't had the confidence to go to put myself out there more. I used to write a lot of articles, you know, and that's not as, well, to me, it's not as intimidating as doing a video and putting yourself out there for everyone to see. Whereas nowadays, it just doesn't bother me. You know, so much of my story is already out there as regards to like suicide, mental health, alcohol problems, drug problems. So, you know, now I'm at a stage where it's like I've very little to hide. Maybe I've nothing to hide. But so, you know, when going back to the motivation then, you know, this is where you have to, you know, have, motivation isn't the right word, but you have to have a purpose. You have to have a drive, you know, to get you to where you want to be, and stop hiding, stop, you know, not stop feeling sorry for yourself, because, you know, years ago I would have been more of, you know, just toughen up and all, but that was all wrong. You know, we don't need physically tough, yeah. Emotionally tough, no. Emotionally tough is a negative thing, and I'll talk about that more maybe in the next video or the video after, when we discuss about our armor, you know, and how we protect ourselves emotionally. But the yeah, so you kind of have to learn to, you know, ask yourself, you know, what is it I want to do, you know, and what's preventing me from doing it. You know, don't worry about the food, don't worry about the drink, don't worry about the you know, lack of exercise, because if you don't actually resolve whatever the underlying problem is, then you're always going to come full circle back to doing whatever it is you're currently doing. So, you know, it's what was I going to say? Back to doing whatever you're currently doing. Oh yeah, so that's why, like, you know, diets don't work. Diets and all are short-lived, you know, or, you know, people go out, beast themselves like 4, 5, 6 times a week, you know, but, you know, 6, 7, 8 weeks time, doesn't matter if you're looking for weight loss, if you're looking for strength, you know, nothing is going to come quick. You have to be patient, you know. And the other thing, actually, well, I think of patience is education. You know, why is it that most adults I meet have stopped educating themselves? You know, and I was never great in school, not because I wasn't smart enough, just because I didn't have much interest. But as I've gotten older, I've actually been educating myself more and more, and now, like, I crave information, you know, because it's not education like, you know, going to school. There's no exam at the end of this. You know, I want to read up on things because I'm interested in it. I want to watch documentaries, or I want to listen to people talking about certain topics because it's an interest, it's an education. You know, and it's the same when it comes to your food, your lifestyle, your exercise. You have to educate yourself. You know, just reading up on the basics, learning to understand the basics of carbs, fats, proteins, you know, what food contains which, how much of each do you need, you know, what's the difference from eating 3 meals a day to eating 6 meals a day? Why do you have now a lot of people, like, you know, stop eating, you know, say after the dinner? We won't give it time because people jump on that, but say stop eating after your dinner and don't eat again until breakfast the next day. These are all, to me, very simple because I'm into this stuff, but even to most people that I teach, you know, they grasp it quick enough and they can understand the basics of it. So it's don't, you know, start educating yourself. Start educating yourself in how to use your body. It's not about jumping around like a fairy for 30 minutes and calling that a workout. You know, none of us, well, maybe some of you are, but I no longer am, and most people that I deal with don't, but none of us are aiming for the Olympics or anything. You know, you have to learn, okay, how strong do I need to be for the lifestyle that I live? How fit do I need to be for the lifestyle I live? How well do I need to move? You know, and that's going to be determined by your age, your job, you know, where you're currently at, you know, your body composition. So you have to start asking yourself these questions. Where is it I want to go? What's preventing me from actually going there? You know, and when your ego starts telling you, oh, it's just a food issue, you know, shut up. It's not a food issue. You have to go deeper. It's never what first comes, because your own ego is going to want to you know, hide the truth from you, because, you know, the truth is there somewhere, because we've all pushed it down. You know, it's like, oh, I don't want to deal with that, you know, and that's your ego that's going to assist in keeping you there. So, you know, stop bullshitting yourself, stop lying to yourself. You know, you know the truth, you know the reality, that you have to actually just like come face with, as I said, your own demons, no matter what it is, you know, and then let's evolve on from that, you know. And then you start looking at, oh, when you have, you know, I understand what has been preventing me, and now we're working on it, you know, working on it within yourself, working on it with a therapist, a counselor, with family, whatever it is, I don't know, you know. And then side by side, then you can start looking at things like your food, you know, because it's yeah, it's, you know, we're all the same, we're all made the same way, we all do the same things. You look at Instagram and you think, oh, like, you know, they're perfect or they're a different type. We're not. We're all just these average Joes, you know. And the only thing that separates some people from others is, you know, the people they have developed themselves to be and the choices that they've made. But you too can change. You know, you can change your attitude, you can change your personality, you can change whatever you think is hardwired. You know, more than likely it has been your ego that has driven you that way. But you can change that. You know, you can change how we act. You know, I've done it, and I'm by no means anything special. But you know, the big thing is to actually admit your own, you know, shortcomings, your own downfall. Admit them to yourself, and if you're brave enough, like, you know, I was going to say like many people, you know, admit them to other people, you know, people you trust. And then, you know, once it's out there, you know, and then start actually looking at, you know, dealing with yourself. I think that was all right. That's about it, anyway. So I think in the next video I want to tell, you know, for some of you that haven't already heard, I have a whole story, well, 2 stories really. I'm going to split it into 2 videos regarding my own mental health and drink and drug abuse. And then another video was to do with one of my children who was severely, seriously ill years ago. And part of my own, you know, motivation and my own drive, you know, and, you know, it's not to tell you to copy it. It's just to give you ideas of, you know, how human and how normal we all are, and there's no reason why you can't do the same, you know. Okay, thanks for watching. All feedback is appreciated. Be sure to check out some of the other videos. If you're enjoying the videos, be sure to subscribe to the channel. There's a lot of videos there on kettlebell work, bodyweight work, barbell work, and there's more and more videos been going up each week the last couple of weeks now. So it's yeah, it's appreciated. Anyway, thank you.